Cool. Okay, so hi. We are live, right?
Yeah, we are live.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so hi everyone. Very warm welcome to everyone present in this live session, and welcome back to our channel KIIT Kaksha. And we are looking forward to an amazing session today. So welcome everyone to DaeDarus Hack, a speaker session. So we have this hackathon from 13th to 15th of August. It is going to be an amazing weekend, and at the Doris Hack, we believe that we create your own labyrinth of ideas and use it to trap the project and promote sustainable development. So we are set for a fun weekend from 13th to 15th August. Please join us at the Doris Hack, and the link will be there in the live chat. So kindly check it out. So today at our speaker session, we have Aashish Barnwal, and he's a great person, and he's currently working as a software development engineer at Amazon. Speaking about his past experience, he has been the moderator for Geeks of Geeks and is the co-founder of Geeks Quiz. And he has also worked as a software engineer at Microsoft, and he's from Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology. He has done his bachelor's degree from this college, and I guess everyone has a good insight on what a great person he is, and I guess we can begin with the session now, right? Yes, so cool. So hello, sir. Uh, can you just give us a brief introduction about your career or something? Just go ahead.
Yeah, so hello everyone. Thank you for inviting me in this session to talk about me and my journey. I hope that I will share something that I have learned over the years and that will help you in your career. So, about me, I am a KIIT alumni. I graduated in computer science engineering from KIIT University in 2013. Um, After graduation, I'm working at Microsoft. I worked at Microsoft Hyderabad for 7 years on different projects. And then I moved to Amazon Canada, and I have been working here for the last 11 months or so. Yeah, so that's about me. Um, I hope that you are doing good in this pandemic situation. Things have been really uncertain. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you for joining us here, Ashish sir. It's really a pleasure for us meeting you. And let's get started. Uh, Animesh,
Yeah. So hello everyone, and Abhinav. Yeah, I can see that you have got a lot of questions. We will cover them up at the end of the sessions. Keep them till with you till then. So basically, yeah. So as Shitishna and have made our introduction previously, just something that I would like to add on that I hope that you enjoyed this session, and if you want, uh, please join our Discord. We will be updating it there also.
okay. Well, let's start with a little few questions. How is it in Amazon? Like let's just dig into it. Like Ashish sir, like you are really working into Amazon, and so how is the work environment in Amazon, and how is it really going right now? Would you like to like define or talk about it?
Yeah, so Amazon is a nice company. What I really like about Amazon is that no matter how much experience you have, there is plenty to learn and there is plenty to work on, and which is really a good thing because the entire world is going on cloud, and companies which are not adopting the backend technology and moving to cloud, they will become obsolete over the years. So,
True.
and especially this pandemic situation, right? So it has pushed every company to the verge of collapse if they are not going digital. And Amazon is right at the center. So Amazon Web Services, which we also call as AWS, it is really popular, and it has a largest market share in terms of like the service backend services, right? So that is about the Amazon AWS that I'm working in. I'm in one of the teams in AWS. Talking about the work environment and how basically people work at Amazon and how is their work-life balance. So it basically depends on the team and also the location. So the team and the team that is in India, it can be very, very different from the team that is in Vancouver, Canada. So my experience is that I am getting good work-life balance. I usually work from 9 to 5. Uh, there are few days when something is on deadline and you have to meet that. You will have to work over hours, but it is not that much. One thing that is very different that I find at Amazon, uh, which is from Microsoft, is that at Amazon the on-call is like more stressful than it was at Microsoft. At Microsoft, the on-call shift was something like 12 hours a day, from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the night. At Microsoft, we had one team in Hyderabad and other one in Seattle, Redmond, to cover 12 hour shift. But there is no such thing as Amazon. At Amazon, the Amazon believes in ownership. So when you are writing a service, you're the you should have the full ownership of that service. And because of that, you have to support the service and become the on-call person. To if something goes wrong, basically you will have to mitigate that. And for that, you have the on-call shift runs like 24 hours a day. So this is really stressful, but good thing is that the shift is something like if you have 12 members in the team, so it is like 1 week per person. So every 2.5 months, you have 1 week of on-call shift, which is manageable. If The good thing is that if you're getting a lot of tickets, basically you can work as a team to automate few things so that you can get less tickets at night. All that sort of thing. Yeah. So at Amazon, one thing is very famous. It's two pizza. The two pizza concept here is that so every service owned by the team size is like two pizza team. So two pizza should be uh, enough to feed the team basically. So the team is really small, and that's why there are many things to learn. Learning is really fast here.
I guess that
That's great.
concept is by Jeff Bezos, right? That was introduced by Jeff Bezos, right? So, like, just a very vague question. Like, have you ever been attended a like meeting or somewhere where Jeff Bezos came himself?
No, I think he's a very big person, and he's not looking into these affairs. He may used to look in the past, but now that he has stepped down as a CEO, right? Then
Yeah,
Andy Jassy is the new CEO, so he's not looking at it. So
obviously
yeah.
that was a very vague question,
And
but
yeah, and especially in this pandemic situation, it is really difficult, right? So I have visited office like 2 or 3 times, and I have been working from home. So it is very difficult to meet people and especially see some big celebrities.
that's true. That's true. Would you like to define tell about your how after pandemic how the situation changed your how the work life changed, like you went from like working at office then to like work from home, so this 9 to 5 how was it affected from the beginning stage then right now? I would like to say.
Yeah, yeah. So I have been working since March 2020. It's been like it is approaching like 1.5 years. I think 6 months at Microsoft and then close to 1 year here at Amazon. To be honest, I am liking this work from home. Uh, so it is difficult to communicate with people. It was really difficult for me when I joined Amazon, because when you are onboarding and learning new things, when you are in office, you can just roam around and ask people, hey, I need to know this, do you know, can you please tell me? But when you are at home, it is really difficult. You need to ping people, and basically the communication over internet is very, very different from the communication that you do over face to face, right? So that was surely a challenge. But now it seems like things are going fine. I'm really liking this work from home culture. One thing is that the downside is that you don't get to meet people, don't get to talk, but the productivity is like really good. uh, there's nobody around to disturb you. There's no one playing any music or talking gossips, all those sort of things.
True, true. You're able to give yourself also time. Then you're
Yeah,
also able to manage your household work and meet up with your friends also. Like obviously
yeah.
not
So
meet up with your friends, like give
yeah,
spend time with your friends and family.
yeah.
So that's a pretty good thing.
And
Uh,
basically, if someone is with their family, right, so they are able to spend like really good time at home. So you
hmm.
can take like 5 minutes break and then you can talk to your family members, things like
True.
that.
Would you like to like say like how like the Amazon India, how is it different from Amazon USA and Amazon Canada? Like, can you give a broad difference how the work differences?
So I have not worked in Amazon India,
Okay.
so I can't really say anything about how the work culture is there. But
Hmm.
I think that what I have experienced over the years is that uh, it is the people who make the team. If one person in the team is working like overnight, sending good reviews at 2 o'clock in the night and sending meeting invite at 3 o'clock in the morning, then other people feel peer pressure, right? So if one person is working like 16 hours a day and meeting all the deadlines and giving really tight deadlines that he or she will cover that work in like 5 days or so, while the other person is able to do the same work in 10 days, then obviously all the other people in the team will also feel the pressure. So this is
True.
not really a good thing. I think it is up to the manager to define these things, that
Hmm.
do not if someone is sending code reviews at night, then do not encourage these things. At least it is the manager who ensure that the team has a good work life balance. I think that's a problem that I usually see in India, that
Hmm.
there are some people who are not married, they feel bored at home and they are spending like too many hours in office. But I will say that there is a life outside of work. Have some
Very true.
hobby, spend some
Very true.
time there, talk to people and make new friends. There's so many things to do. Why make your work your life, right?
That is something many of the people forget. Literally,
Up,
all their life is just defined by the cubicle they work in.
yeah,
Like 9 to 5, then they come home and they sleep, and
yeah.
the next
So
day same. Yeah,
yeah, so after 10 years or 20 years or so, you don't want your, when you look back, right? You don't want your life to be defined by some code that you have written, some bug that you fixed. It is not something that you want to remember.
that is so
Basi-
so
You
true.
should live your life in such a way that when you look back, you should feel happy. You should you should feel like really good when you remember those moments.
That is something very very
Absolutely.
very meaningful. Like that is something everyone should remember. Like obviously we as students are gonna step into this work environment in just a few years. It's like not even few years left. Just in few time we will be stepping into it, and everyone is in the first few years. Everyone is so like excited for it. Like they forget everything and just work and work and work and work to get on with it, and they forget to live their life, to give time to their families, friends, and
Yeah.
that's also important. Like that work life balance is very important. That's very crucial also. uh, would you like to enable a little about what you do except like after the 9 to 5, like what how you spend your time and how you give time to yourself?
So my life used to be like really colorful when I was at Microsoft, because in India, basically you have the luxury of hiring the cook and maid, right, to do the house chores, but you don't really get to do these things in North America. It is like damn expensive. So here, basically, you have to do the grocery shopping, because if you have something like big basket here, it is expensive.
Yes,
Then you have to wash the dishes, wash clothes, cook, everything. Basically, I feel like I am a one man army here. So usually, so if I get time, basically, I'm interested in learning how the real world applications work. For example,
so
there are a lot of things around us, right? How Google search engine, Zomato, Airbnb, everything has a technology behind it. So I'm really inquisitive of how those things work. So I keep on reading their engineering blogs, watch videos, and sometimes uh, I play piano. I also read a lot about investment. So there are
that's very
plenty of things
interesting.
to do. I feel
Yeah,
like 20 hours. it's too less for me. I should get more hours in a day so that I could do all things. But that's how it
That's a
is.
multi-talented person I'm talking to here right now. Like too much, man. I must say, too much. Like you're really a like inspiration for many. I must say, like playing piano, then learning and all this stuff. My God, this is very good. But like I see, like I would say, keeping on learning, like technology keeps on changing every few years. Like everyone is evolving. Like technology is evolving very fast. Like every 2 years, there's just a new technology coming up. So, like, would you recommend that the people should keep on learning, keep on building up themselves, and what all they should do for keeping up with this technology?
Yeah.
Uh,
So I will say that that's the only way of survival in this industry. If you don't learn, you will become obsolete, and
hmm,
nobody will need you. So that's why these companies pay like really high salaries, right? Because there is so much of learning involved. If you compare it with some government jobs in India, so they give you some training for like 3 months or 6 months, and then the same you have to do the same thing for years. If something changes, then you will be given training again. But there is no such thing in these companies, right? When a new technology comes, basically you are asked to execute it. You
hmm,
sometimes you don't even get time to learn it. You have to uh, you have to learn in parallel to the work that you are doing.
that,
So I think the only way to keep yourself updated in the fast changing tech world
hmm,
is to keep reading and keep learning. Read as much as possible. I think this is possible in any side, not only in the tech job. You you do anything, right? You do photography, you have to read a lot, you have to practice a lot. So there's a virtuoso concept, right? So you
yeah.
have to spend like 10,000 hours in something to become good at.
Yeah,
So
that is very
yes.
true.
So to keep yourself updated with this with the ever changing technology, I think the only way to do is to basically keep a watch on the engineering blocks, be
Hmm.
inquisitive of how different technologies in the world work.
That's
Whenever you use any application, think deeply how this technology is working, because someday you may be working in one of those things, and
hmm,
then it will help you.
true. All I would like to ask, like, how like does the like Amazon team, like you have your team members, like do you guys get in with some, like get in with some project and think we should include this also, like this should also be come into this scenario, cause like because it's everyone is learning, no, because that is why maybe it does Amazon promote into learning something new. Any help from Amazon that you get?
So this is true for any company, any big company, I would say. So
Mm,
whenever you are working in a new project, right?
yeah.
So so what happens is, in the initial phase you have to do a lot of brainstorming. So we start from the customer side, what our customers want. This is one of the leadership principles Jay Bezos talks about. So the customer obsession. So you start with the customer, what the customer wants, and then you design solutions that the customer will find helpful. And then
Mm,
we work backwards. We start with the customer requirement, whether the customer will like it or not, and then we think in technology, whether this how complex this feature will be, and how what is the right design to implement it. So we
mm,
have different team members. So we have like product managers who come with a very long document where everything is defined, and then we as an engineering team, we sit back, we design things, we brainstorm, and then when everything is set up, we understand the trade-offs, then we go into the implementation phase. So there is a lot of teamwork involved there, lot of discussions involved, because this is how a team, you need to succeed as a team, right, not as an individual.
obviously, the team building stuff.
Yeah.
You need to keep on building up the team, not only you. That- yes, that's true. Since you said you're in Vancouver, Canada, right? So you came from KIIT. You passed out from KIIT at in 2013, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this transition from 2019 in KIIT to 2021 being in Amazon Vancouver, how do you feel about it? Like, how is it to you?
I think I feel good and lucky as well because
Hmm.
when Microsoft visited the campus, right, it selected only 2 students out of 400, and I was one of those lucky ones.
I
So
guess.
I feel really lucky that I got the opportunity
Hmm.
and I was able to execute it. So
Well,
yeah, so I feel good about it. The transition from Microsoft to Amazon is also good because uh, I wanted to basically experience how North America is all about. So there's a lot of hype. I think all of my friends have relocated from India to US. Nobody is in India, which is a very weird thing. The hype is that much. So that's why I also wanted to at least experience this and got an opportunity at Amazon. And I thought that maybe I will just take this opportunity and see how it goes. If I don't like it, maybe I will come back after a year or two. That's how my thinking was when I accepted the offer letter from Amazon.
that's that's really like how was what was your parents' reaction when you got into Microsoft when KIIT and when you came to like Amazon? So how was your family reaction to it? Like what did they say? How happy they were and
So when I got an offer from Microsoft, my parents were like really happy because this is something that so I this is something that no one in my family has achieved, and
Hmm.
this was really a big news for them. But they were not really happy when I was relocating to Amazon Canada. They wanted me to stay in India. I
Oh,
think that's how every parent thinks about. So so I had to convince them that yeah, it is fine. I will be okay. If something doesn't work, I can always come back.
yeah. But I don't think that is for you. It's like perfectly working out for you, I guess.
I'm liking it. The only downside is that I have to stay away from family. So in life, everything is a trade-off, right? You always achieve one achieve one thing at the and compromise other thing.
Hmm.
And so that's how life is. So if you basically if I'm here, I'm not able to meet my family and I have to do all the house chores. I am cook, I'm maid, I'm grocery shopper, everything you can think of.
Okay, like now let's dive into a little into KIIT, cause how KIIT was in 2000 back in 2013 and how the transition was, and let's like little wrap like little talk about how it was. So in KIIT in 2013 when you got placed, how was the session like? Of how we I guess it is completely different right now, but what was the scenario back then in 2013? Then we will talk about like what is it right now. Then we can compare a little.
Yeah, so during my time, I always felt that kids should have a strong coding culture. So during my time, I think very few people focused on coding. They were only about mugging solutions, scoring CGPAs. So people are getting like 9.5 plus CGPA and they were happy about it with
Hmm.
no clue that CGPA won't matter if you get into a company, right? Companies don't
Hmm.
ask that if you have a 9.5 CGPA, I will give you more salary or something like that. You have to prove yourself. And for that, basically, you have to practice a lot. You have to work really hard. So during my time, people didn't have any clue like what to practice, what to read to go into such companies. They usually focused on scoring CGPAs, doing projects, all those sort of things which don't really matter in the long run. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I found it really hard because there was no one to guide me like what to do, and I felt really lucky that I got resources like what to read, where to read from, who to discuss it with. I got lucky in this aspect. But right now, I think that the KIT has a really good coding culture, and now students know what they are doing. They are focusing on projects. They are learning things. They are at least doing coding something. During my time,
Hmm.
nobody was coding. Apart, if there was a lab, data structure and algorithms lab, and then there was a subject design and analysis of algorithms.
Hmm.
Only in these two labs, people coded few problems related to data structure algorithms. Apart from that, they didn't have a passion to solve problems outside of that. So their focus was mainly to score like really good GPA. And after that they didn't really care much. I think that it is changing slowly, which is really a good thing.
Well, I would say right now it's a very competitive ground. Let's say it's literally very competitive ground. Like right now, you would see every second person or the third person is coding and has a hacker rank of like really good 5-star hacker rank and something like that. So right now the scenario has completely changed. Like everyone is coding, everyone is into this new technologies and all. Not like everyone as in who are in third year. Like third year people, everyone is very concentrated because of the TNP. Right now the TNP, like training placement, is so much active. Like we had a briefing session just yesterday, where they're starting the classes, where they are gonna tell us about they are gonna revise all the database data structure, discrete, and all those topics which we had done in the last few semesters, so that we are ready for our placements. And we have a complete ground, like complete whole schedule for this. So yeah, right now the scenario, I'm sure, like like there are, I would say ki there are few students into research, like not many are in research. The scenario that was with you in coding, I would say right now it is in research, where many people are not very well known about what to do in research area. Everyone is very much active and very much focused towards competitive programming and all that. So, how I would like to ask you something. This like the competitive coding or doing projects or studying about ML and research and AI, these areas.
Yeah.
What is really like important and will be very beneficial for the person applying to Amazon or Fan or any company in Fan?
Yeah,
Like,
so when you are applying off campus, then projects will matter because that's how they will shortlist your resume. But
okay.
I think that during on campus, they don't really care a lot. So I can tell about my experience at Microsoft. So I had done some projects on Android, and in my interviews, they didn't really care about my project at all. Only in the final round, when they had like 10 minutes to discuss few things, they asked about my project and different challenges that I had while implementing those apps, right? But apart from that, they didn't really care because they don't have time. They come with an agenda of asking you questions, you solve that questions, and then you ask how the culture at Microsoft, so on and so forth. So that is one thing. But projects do matter when you're applying off campus, because now companies are getting like thousands of resume and they need to shortlist, right? So it is a demand and supply concept, right? In India, a lot of engineers are good, so you have to outshine them in order to get into these companies. Regarding machine learning and artificial intelligence, so my thoughts may be a bit old, but the way I feel about is that 4 years is too less a time, and doing just one or two project won't matter a lot in machine learning and artificial intelligence. If you have really passion about learning these things, then I think it's better to do MS or MTech, right? And do a course in that, and then you will have like some specialization in ML and AI, and then that the company will find beneficial.
That is something I also agree with. Like right now too, we what we do is basically like learn the basic concepts of AI, learn the basic concept of ML, and try to build up some basic projects related to these concepts that we have learned. It's not really hardcore ML, not really prediction analysis, and not really what really ML in-depth ML is. What we do is basically learn the algorithms, the Kelvin filter, all these kind of filters we learn and apply it on data, and like make a small project and data what make small projects and present it on a resume. So that's like it's basically like learning us like learning more of learning the new algorithms, because that's interesting, to be honest. Like I really
Yeah.
find it really interesting.
Yeah, I think one of the problems that I see currently in the college students is FOMO. So fear of missing out, right? They don't want
Yeah,
to miss few things, and so they run after like so many things: data science, and then machine learning, artificial intelligence, research. So the thing is, you are just starting learning. You have just started learning. So basically, learn one thing and learn it well. If you go after like 50 things, then it's like nobody has crossed the river while putting foot on two boats, right?
Yeah,
So
the jack of all trades, master of none.
yeah, so I think it is good to focus on few things rather than going after so many things, because then, so think about this. You don't want to go to a dentist who is half dentist, half vegetable vendor, half this, half that. So you want to basically go to someone who is very specialized in that. And
That's
four
for sure.
hours in 4 years of college, basically you already have so many subjects. So learn the fundamentals well. Then when you get into some company, you will get opportunities to learn.
I agree. I completely agree. Like, sure. Like, this is something many people like FOMO, as you said. Like, people like fear of missing out. Everyone is like, everyone sees ki how many people are doing n numbers of projects and in n number of topics. And literally, I also get FOMO. Not talking about anyone else. I would just say ki I also get FOMO, and I also feel ki I am learning this subject, and I am lagging out on these subjects only. So how will I cope up with all this? So like then I try to like come up with some idea and then get on with some projects and try to figure out something. But
Yeah.
like I would take into your advice that master the subjects that we are already learning and maybe explore a little.
Yeah, so think about that. WhatsApp is just an Android app, right?
Yeah.
But so many things have gone into designing the WhatsApp, supporting like 3 billion users around the world. So every 3 out of 7 persons people in the world is using WhatsApp. So what goes into design that sort of scalability? So think about that. So there are few people who will make like 5 Android apps in a month. So that is not going to help. You're not only It is not only about writing code, right? You also need to showcase that there's
Hmm.
something that you have built and that the world is using.
True. That is
So
true.
so try to go in depth, do things, and that is really good. That Yeah.
I well true. Well, let's like always there's in the college, inside college, it's always the friend group that that really decides, like not really like that hypes up some topic and then they all work on into something. So in when you went the work about your friend group, okay, would you like to say how you all guys did something or any kind of project you guys all did, Iksat, and something like that,
Yeah.
like
So
experience?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So during my college days, we had a group of like 4 people, and we did a few projects together. So there's a subject, right? Software engineering, something like
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yes.
So there we have the concept of basically bug where you file a bug, you try it, and then you fix it. There is the agile methodology, the waterfall model, all those things, right?
Yes.
So we
Yes.
had
Yes.
followed that in our project. This was really good thing because that's what you do in companies when you get placed.
Hmm.
So we actually used to divide our work. We used to meet daily, discuss our progress, what things are pending, is anything blocking. So these things really help because as a team, this teaches you like what it is like to work as a team, right? And
Hmm.
there are companies who wants to see these sort of skills, whether you are a team player or not. How do you collaborate effectively with different people? How are your soft skills? So those things help as well. Especially in the last few years, companies have started taking behavioral rounds. So in Amazon, they have like 14 leadership principles. They have behavioral round in Facebook. Now Google has started it. Microsoft also has 16 leadership principles. So the soft aspects are your attitude, right? So it also matters a lot in getting landing a job in these companies.
Hmm. I I said surely. Also, well, something like what do you remember? Like except for work in KIIT and except for the project stage, what all like any memories from KIIT? Like very like something you really hold on to from KIIT.
I would say not much because there is one regret that I didn't live my college life so much because of too much focus on coding and all. I think the only memory is like so I had a small group of like 5 friends I used to hang out with. and there is one college near KIIT, right? I think Silicon Institute of Technology. So Silicon Institute of Technology had organized a coding context, and 200 teams had visited, I think, across Odisha, and
Mhm.
uh, two teams had out of 200 teams, two teams had won the first and second prize, and it was the group of four people that I had there. So we four people had registered, and we won like first and second prize. So that was our first achievement. Looking back, it looks like a very small achievement, but that time we felt like really good. It boosted our confidence, and we started like doing more and more coding.
Nice. That's a
That's
very nice
absolutely
memory.
great.
Yeah. Well, moving on to Animesh. Animesh has a few questions of his own.
Mhm.
Yeah, so yeah, we are also missing out our college life. We have missed out most of them actually, and our juniors are also facing the same problem. So there's that. So my question is that how did you prepare for the Microsoft at the 2013? Means what
Okay,
all you
so
did?
mhm. Yeah, so
Did
that's an
you?
interesting question. So yeah, so I will tell discuss a bit about my experience. So the only reason I took admission in KIT is because of Microsoft. So when I got into Microsoft, I used to before going to KIT, I used to mock KIT a lot. That what sort of college is this, so on and so forth, blah blah blah. But then I had no other option. I had three colleges in mind: VIT, KIT, and Cochin University. And VIT and Cochin University were really far from my home. I didn't want to go there, so the only option I was left with was KIT. But I wanted to research about it a bit, so that to make sure that I'm not taking any wrong bad decision. And I started hitting up like Google and reading a lot everything about KIT that I could, and I found that Microsoft had visited KIT in 2008, and uh, it had offered job to like I think 8 or 13 people. I don't remember the exact number, but that's how I was impressed with the KIT. That if Microsoft is visiting this college, then it will not be a bad college after all. So that was in my mind, and when I joined KIT, I was basically in my first semester itself. I was reading about like what are the questions these companies ask, so on and so forth, right? But the interview process itself has changed a lot over the years. So the things that I read in first semester was no more valid in third or fourth year, right?
Mhm.
So I think it was in third semester. I had data structure and algorithm, yeah,
Yeah.
data structure and algorithms topic, and that's where basically I started taking interest in these topics, the stacks, queues. I really liked them a lot, and I started practicing. In fourth semester, I I found a site, Project Euler. Project Euler is an interesting site in the sense that it has a combination of mathematical and coding aspects, right? So you can't actually code the question. You first have to solve it using some mathematical uh, process, and after that you come up with an expression, and then you code that expression. You find an answer, you
Right.
feed that answer into the forum, and then yeah. So it was really good. That's how my coding journey started. And in fifth semester, I had data structure, design and analysis of algorithms, right? So that's
Mhm.
where it basically took off. I started practicing a lot. I came across a site called Geeks for Geeks. It was very new. So during my time, there were very less resources. Hacker Earth was very new. Nobody knew about Hacker Rank. Geeks for Geeks was pretty new. The Narasimha Karumashi book just came in fifth semester. So no more, not much resources, no guidance, no one to tell what to practice, where to read from. So all those things I got lucky. I just read. It was my interest that I searched a lot and came across few websites. Started practicing. That's how I also became Geeks for Geeks moderator. So I started solving a lot of problems on Geeks for Geeks, and that's when Sandeep sent me a mail asking that if I want to be in the team. I said yes, and I started writing a lot of articles. Writing really helps; it clarifies your mind. So uh, if you know something, if you're not able to explain something well, right, then you don't understand it
Yeah, you
enough.
don't know that thing.
So that really helped, and that's how basically I practice a lot of problems, solve different things, did projects, and then when Microsoft came, I was able to. solve the problems in the interview. And yeah, that's how I got.
So as we have already answered this that it was an on campus, but how was the process means interview rounds that you had gone through? Means obviously it
Yes.
was some a coding part and some personality interview, but how those went?
Yeah. So during that time, Microsoft didn't focus. Companies didn't used to focus much on uh, the leadership questions, your soft skills, right? They used to focus on soft skills, but it was not very enforced. So that time, we had 2 rounds of written interview, and then followed by 5 rounds of face-to-face interview. So the first round of written interview was not very tricky. It had like I think it had 15 problems, and we had been given like 30 minutes of time. It was like MCQ, right? So every question had like 4 options, and then they selected 277 out of 400 students. And then out of that 277, we had another written round where we had to solve like three problems. So we had to code 3 problems, and out of that 277, 70 candidates were selected. And after that, I think the result was declared like after 2 months. I was waiting for my interview round in Intel. I didn't want to give the interview. I wanted to, no, I think it was at a later time. So yeah, so I think the result of that written round came after 2 months. And then the interview process started. The first round was a group interview. So every 5 people were sitting in a room, and everyone was given one question, and there was one interviewer who was moving in the room and looking who is so solving this question and in what approach, all those sort of things. So out of that 70, then it was cut off to 14 people. And then the next interview round, we had the next interview round was like really good. Uh, uh, they selected like 10 out of 14 students. And then the third interview round was it was the so in Microsoft, third interview round is the hardest round. If you clear third round, then you have a high chance of like, basically clearing it. Not very high chance, but at least 30-40%. So third interview round is basically the elimination round. So third round was like really, really complex, because the guy who was interviewing me was from a compiler team, and he gave me a question related to compiler, and we were discussing like weird data structure like gap buffer. So luckily, I had read the gap buffer data structure once just out of curiosity, and that came handy in that Microsoft round. We also discussed about DFA and NFA that we get to read in Principles of Programming Language, right? So I designed some DFA and some NFA and basically coded that. So after the third round, 5 out of 10 people were selected. And then we were said that there will be 2 rounds tomorrow. So these 3 rounds took like 12 hours of the day. I went at 9 o'clock in the morning and came back at like 10 or 11 in the night. Didn't get any because of stress, right? There was just too much stress. Because in college like it, you don't get like a lot of opportunities. If you lose Microsoft, you don't have other companies to give interview for, right?
Yeah, right,
That's the
right.
problem there. So I wasn't the impression that if I had to take this opportunity, there is just no room for mistake. You have to give your best. And for
Mhm.
and there was just so much stress. So after 14 hours went in that day. I went home, slept, and then came back tomorrow. We were supposed to have 2 rounds, and I was waiting for my round, but Microsoft decided that they will take my interview first instead of last. And they took one
Oh,
round my interview, and they canceled one round. And in that interview round, basically after that interview round, I got it. So I think that it was because I was doing well. That's my assumption. They canceled one of my rounds, and then final round was also very tricky. So they asked me to design. Uh, so you have a LinkedIn feature, right? In LinkedIn, you have a
mhm.
degree of connection, first, second, and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. So they asked me to design that. So how would you design a degree of separation in a social network? And then we talked about BFS, and then he said that how will you optimize it? So uh, I think luckily I had read about bidirectional BFS as well, which was very unheard that time, and he was really impressed. And then I got into something like distributed systems, that if to support a social network like Facebook or LinkedIn, right? There's just too
Mhm.
much of data. and you have some friends, you have some connections in India, some in US. In which machine will you store the information? You can't store all the information in one machine, right? So
Yeah,
how will you distribute the information, the data on different machines? So we discuss all those sort of things.
that must be a great experience discussing those things with
Yeah, so Microsoft doesn't really ask these questions. I think I got really unlucky. My other friends were asked only data structure, simple data structure questions like how will you solve a Sudoku, right? So write a code to solve Sudoku, or you have been given a grid of characters, and then you have to search a word in that. So it's like Miami.
yeah,
So
yeah,
my other friends were asked these sort of questions, but I don't know. So in the third round itself, the interviewer said that he knew that I was a moderator at Gigs for Gigs. So he know that. So he said that I'm not looking at your coding skills. I want to see that what other skills do you have, and then he went to do all those sort of things. So
so somewhere that part played an important role, I guess.
I think, yeah, becoming being inquisitive, uh, to learn of learning new things, new technologies, and being passionate about things. This really helped a lot. I also want to echo one thing. So in the third round, the interviewer said that I have already seen that you have a lot of passion in coding, but I also want to see that do you have any passion in technology or not. So this thing also plays a very important role. It's not only about coding, right? Because sooner or later you will be bored of coding. What will you do then? You will not become successful in
Mm-hmm.
these companies. So in that case, you need to become passionate in technology. And in the third round, the interviewer wanted to see that. So I had to basically uh, walk him through some of my experiences that drive that fascinate me and what I feel about them. I think he was okay with that.
That's great. So basically, my next question is basically how did you prepare yourself for companies other than the Microsoft, the fan?
So so during in my college time, I didn't think about any other company. I always thought that Google is like very hard to crack because Google is obsessed about dynamic programming, counting problems,
Mm-hmm.
permutation and combination, right? And some of the problems are like really tough. So that time, because I started late, I didn't have much time to prepare for Google, and I was pretty much happy with Microsoft that time. So yeah, during Amazon, so I was preparing for different companies. The thing that when you have like 3+ years of experience or 5+ years of experience, right? Then it's not only about coding. You also need to prepare about system design. So there are few rounds on system design, depending on your experience, one or more rounds, where they ask you to design a very big system. For example, how will you design WhatsApp? How will you design Airbnb, Booking.com? A lot of systems around you, right? So they will ask you to design maybe one of them, maybe some unheard system. It's basically it depends on how lucky are you on that day. So you need to prepare for those as well. But the coding thing is same. It is not different. So the regarding coding, some companies are obsessed about few topics. For example, if you are going for Facebook obsesses a lot about sliding window problems, the graph problems. When it is Google asks a lot about dynamic programming. So
Mm-hmm.
in every Google interview, you will have at least one dynamic programming, or maybe two or three. You really have to practice it well because dynamic programming is one monster where even if you have solved like 50 problems, another problem will come and it will surprise you. So you need to give it time. You need to understand it well. Otherwise, it will be very difficult. And then the counting problems, you should be very much familiar with how different counting works and the permutation and combination. So for Google, you have to practice these sort of things. For Amazon, coding is not very difficult at Amazon. That's what I can say uh, with the experience that I had. Uh, but you need to write the clean code. Basically, you should be able to. So this is true for all the other companies as well. You need to practice in such a way that your code should be able to handle all the corner cases, and it should run in one attempt. If it doesn't run or if it misses corner cases, then it's a red flag. And if you do the same thing in multiple rounds, then you will be rejected. That's how the works. It has become very competitive because there are tons of other folks who are able to write the clean and concise and the perfect working code in one attempt. So why will they hire you, right?
Right.
The same thing is at Microsoft as well. Microsoft, I think, focuses a little bit on operating system as well. So I think that whether, irrespective of which companies you are interviewing for, it will be good to have a fundamental understanding of the core topics. Operating system, database, networking, principal programming languages, discrete mathematics, so on and so forth, right?
Right. 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 So it's a lot to prepare for the junior folks, I guess.
Well,
If
well, I would like to get into like some of the YouTube questions. There's
Mhm.
one that really interests me by Aditya Sinha. So, how did you prepare for the Amazon SD in college? SDE
so
in
so I didn't prepare for Amazon. So preparation is not very much company specific. It is, but usually you have to understand the basic concepts of data section and algorithms, and then you have to do the same coding, right? The toughness of question may vary, but then you have to solve the problem. So that's what these companies look for. So you need to have a strong problem solving skills and data section algorithm skills.
That's great. So I have one from Shrisha. So she's asking, did you always aspire getting into Amazon?
No, I didn't want to get into Amazon. I will tell you the reason because I had also read a lot of horror stories that the work-life balance is really bad. I was afraid that I won't be able to pursue my hobbies and it will screw my life. But the thing is, I got a call from Amazon that there is an opening in Canada and are you interested? I said yes. I gave one round of, actually there were two rounds, one written round and one video call round. And after I cleared those two rounds, they called me for interview in Vancouver. So I was under assumption that I will travel to Vancouver. I will visit Vancouver for 6 days, and I will come back. I will not join Amazon. But when I came here, I when I visited Vancouver and I traveled different places here, I really like this place. This is like really beautiful. So I can walk for 15 minutes and I can land in a beach. I walk like 20 kilometers, I land up in a mountain. So you get beaches, mountains. This is an awesome place. So who doesn't want to be here? So
that's
if I
beautiful.
got, so I didn't intend to join Amazon, but then I got the offer. I cleared the interview, and when I got the offer, I weighed my options, staying at Microsoft versus moving to Canada. And I thought that it is what I always wanted to be. Right, I wanted to move to North America and see how it is, experience the different cultures, cuisines, travel places, and earn a lot of money.
I have one personal question. Like, I also want to move out to abroad, like USA or Canada. So, like, what would you? How would you define your change from the India, like the life in India and life in Canada? So, how is it so different, and is it very different, or you adapted to it very easily, and it's really not hard, something like that?
So for few people, it is really difficult to adapt because of two things, right? So here you don't have the luxury of having the house help. So you have to do the house chores yourself, especially if you are not married, then it becomes really difficult, right? So if you are willing to do that, plus there are few people who are very attached to the family. Once you are outside, you can't travel like every 3 or 6 months, right? And when something happens in your family, you are needed, then you you don't have the luxury to just book a flight and go there. So these are the two things that is different. The things that I really like here is less pollution, more greenery, less people. People don't honk. So India has a lot of chaos, right? Here
Yeah.
you will find peace. So there are few people who like chaos as well. For them India is better, but I am kind of person who likes peace, who doesn't like a lot of traffic on road, uh, loves less green nature, beaches, mountains. So that's why I'm loving it here.
That's great. That's so Mayank is asking, can you recommend some genuine resources that can keep us updated with the latest change in the technologies?
Um, it is really difficult. So first you have to set a goal like which technology you are interested in. So you can be interested in machine learning, data science, artificial intelligence, um, or front end tech, designing the UI and all, or back end tech, right? Once you have a
Mhm.
goal like what you want to learn, right, then you can follow the various engineering blocks of that company. uh, for example, if you are really interested in back end, then Netflix, Uber, Airbnb, every company that you can think of, right? Or Google, Facebook, Twitter, every company has an engineering blog. You just Google it, Twitter engineering blog. You go and read what Twitter is doing, how they are solving their problems, right? And then you can search on Google, YouTube. So there's a channel InfoQ. InfoQ has a lot of good talks. So you can listen to, or you can, there's a site highscalability.com. Highscalability.com talks about this, how real world distributed systems were built, how WhatsApp scaled themselves to supporting like 3 billion users. So all those sort of things you can read there. So it is, so Google is your friend. You just need to search there. Just search and learn. You can also follow to those engineering blogs, so that if there is a new post, yeah, it will land up in your mail and you can read it. So I think being inquisitive and being curious will help.
Nice. Well, I another question. Which one do you prefer, like personally, like learning from like videos or YouTube content or the Udemy classes, or from books and the content that like we buy, or
Means
books
hard
and
resources
all the
or soft
literature?
resources, I guess.
Yeah, literature. Yeah, literature resources.
Yeah,
Which
so
one?
I don't like taking courses. I have never taken any course on Udemy or any other site on that matter. I prefer reading to watching videos, but I'm okay with either of those. So sometimes, so in India, I didn't used to watch a lot of videos, but here I watch videos because I'm doing something I can't really read, right? So when I'm cooking something, I can listen to some video or watch some video. So nothing really a preference over video or writing, but reading. But I think the good thing about reading is that you can read at your own pace. If you're not understanding
Mhm.
something, you can read that line 5 times. But then it is difficult to do it in video. You have to go forward and backward.
Yeah, that's true. So Aditya Sinha is asking another question that apart from DSA and DA, what all subjects you focused on in college?
So having sound knowledge of operating system will really help. It is the second most important thing. Then have a fundamental understanding of database, how databases work. Uh, and basically, in my college days, they taught only about MySQL, right? But
In
now
my
there's
school too.
a new tech is emerging, right? No SQL, not only SQL.
Yeah.
So it is also very popular. So think like in what scenarios no SQL will be used, in what scenarios you will use RDBMS, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the main challenge in designing big systems in current era is how to handle so much of data, right? All the things are becoming smart. People are using Internet of Things. The home is becoming full of like smart technologies, and every smart technology is generating a lot of data. And if you are working with that, you need to handle that amount of data. So you have to scalability is a big problem, and for that you have to store that data somewhere, right? And because of that, the choice of database is really important. So understand that. Also have a sound understanding of networking, principles of programming language, understand how DFA and FA work, and then discrete mathematics. I think that should be enough.
That's great. That's great. That will help you, I guess. Everyone, I guess, who are preparing for FANG and Microsoft. So here is another question from Ankit that he came across your blog and he says that you are a photographer, you play piano as well as you are SD too. So how do you manage that?
Um, so it was easier for me when I was in India. Here, it is very difficult to get that much of time. But usually, it is um, basically you have to prioritize the things in your life, right? So think like
Mhm.
what is more important to you and how much time can you dedicate. So basically, being planful helps, and it is not difficult to get out 15 or 30 minutes of your time every day, right? So basically you can do
Yeah.
that to practice piano. And photography you don't do every day, right? So you
Mhm.
basically do that when you are going on some trip, but you keep on learning about that, because uh, if you are not learning, then you will end up just being mediocre. And being mediocre, I'm not passionate about that. I want to basically do things well. I don't want to do things just for the sake of doing.
That's great. Thanks. Really insightful for us. And here is another last question, I presume, from Abhinav, that how was the journey from KIT to Amazon, its current company?
I think we have already discussed about that, but
Yeah.
I will just tell one more time. So I got on-campus placement in Microsoft. I worked at Microsoft for 7 years, and then I uh, got an offer from Amazon Canada, and I relocated here.
So that's it, I guess. Uh, let us wrap up. I hope that everyone enjoyed this session as much as we enjoyed in organizing it. And thank you, sir, for giving us your precious time to come here and share your experiences with us. And those who still haven't registered for the DaeDarus Hack, the link is in the description. Please do register, and in the upcoming events, we are going to give away some swag stickers, and you can win them. So it will be great for you. That's it. Thank you, and I hope you all are safe.